What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have the Prophet Yorak Hunt talking about pubs in Australia. Before we dive in, if you happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash subscribe, give a video a thumbs up, and let's see what we got.
The pub, an important place and part of people's lives all over the world. A place where the world's greatest minds meet up to drink, eat, celebrate, gamble, argue, fight, and just about anything and everything in between. The pub is just one of those places that is suited to every single demographic that the Australian public has to offer. You've got the kids section, the tradesmen and elderly section, the smokers section, and of course the fighting section, just to name a few.
I ain't never seen that many cigarettes in a bottle. And how do you even smoke that? What? I don't even understand the physics behind that. Hey, but you see, you got the casino section, you got the kids section, you got the trade section, you got all these sections in Australia.
Anyway, before I give away too much important information too early on, it's time for me to stop the waffle. Because in today's video, we'll be going through the most important aspects of what makes a good Australian pub, and we'll also be going through some of the people you'll find at these pubs, and going through some of the greatest moments in Australian pub history. So without further ado, let's get into it. One of the most important parts of the pub has to be the name, and for this one I have to give the crown to the United Kingdom. You see, in Australia we have a few funny ones like this and this, but in the United Kingdom the list just seems to be endless. You've got ones like this, this, and my personal favourite, the ye old fighting cocks. Now I've got no idea what this obsession with cocks is all about, and I would ask King Charles, but me and him are still beefing, so let's move on. Now another extremely important part of a good pub has to be the pokies. Now the pokies, also known as the bricky's laptop, is a machine that turns your life...
The pokies, also known as the bricky's laptop. Dang, hey, the brickies be in there playing that much? The bricky's laptop is crazy.
Savings into thin air. Now it's common knowledge that the pokies is a bad addiction and can cause you to lose thousands and thousands of dollars. But any good pub gets around this stigma by calling the pokies room the gaming room. But you see, in this gaming room you won't find Call of Duty or Fortnite. Instead you'll find a room that is packed wall to wall with Dragon Link and Pink Panthers. Now the people that occupy these gaming rooms are a small group of dedicated people comprised of the elderly, tradesmen, and not really anyone else. Now these people often sit on the plumber's PlayStation for hours or even days on end, and it's been heavily reported that sometimes these people even back one out or spring a leak at the chair, because you never know, that next spin could win you the feature. Now obviously I do not condone gambling, but always remember, while you can only lose 100% of your money, the percentage of your money that you can win is almost infinite. But that's
a good point. I don't condone gambling either, but yeah, you gotta be willing to risk it to get the biscuit. You gotta go big or you gotta go home. You can't think about losing the money. You gotta think about the positives. What's the possibilities of winning a lot?
That's enough waffle about the pensioner's piano, because that's not the only part that makes a good
pensioner. Yorak Hunt is great with these. The pensioner's piano.
Pub. You see, to make it a pub it needs to have a bar, and on one of the walls near the bar there needs to be 28 different TVs playing 28 different horse races and random footy replays. Now the only reason that there's so many TVs on the wall is to give the patrons something to watch when there's no brawl going on. But did you know, if you bring your own universal remote to the pub, you can control these TVs, and that's very very handy for something like Grand Final Day, where you can play a little prank on the packed pub by turning the TV off about 30 seconds before the final siren. Now, if you remember about 5 seconds ago, I mentioned brawls. And if you pull this little TV prank, you might just find yourself in the centre of one. And that's where the pub car park comes in. You see, back in the day, drink driving wasn't illegal. And due to the fact that many pubs in Australia are very old and heritage listed, they still have the car parks that they built when they first made them. Now, obviously the pub car park is still used for parking, but if you've ever watched the movie Fight Club, you'd also know that it doubles as a boxing arena. Now, for obvious reasons, I can't really go too in depth on the pub brawls, but you don't really have to search too hard to find footage yourself. Now, obviously the main attractions to the pub are the food and drinks, but due to the fact that I've already made a video on food and drinks, we'll keep this one short and sweet. Now, obviously being a pub, you can get whatever drink you want. Water, soft drink, beer, you name it. But due to the fact that the government raises taxes on alcohol every 6 months, But due to the fact that the government...
Ain't no way. There's no way. There's 101, 81. It's crazy. That is insanity. That is diabolical. And I know that might not be the correct number, but we do know Australia's alcohol is very high. Very, very expensive compared to other countries.
It raises taxes on alcohol every 6 months, and inflation is through the roof. One alcoholic drink will cost you about 4 times what it'd cost just to get it from the bottle shop. But I have heard some rumours on the street that the only way to fix this would be to press that subscribe button. Hey, don't shoot the messenger, I'm just repeating what I've heard. Anyway, now we move on to food. The pub is the home of the healthy meal. You've got things like hot dogs, hot chips, burgers and chicken nuggets, just to name a few, but everyone knows that the holy grail is the chicken Parmigiana. Anyway, one of the most important sections of any pub has to be the kids section. The kids section is usually a room like this with a cheap knockoff of the Macca's playground. And I'm pretty sure that it's a law that these playgrounds need to be sticky and gross from all the vomit, piss and shit that has caked itself onto the surfaces over the years. And while this is technically the kids section, after enough beer, anyone can fit down one of these slides. Now, to top it off, the kids section always has to include one of these claw machines, which is simply there to introduce them to gambling as young as possible. You see,
I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good point. The claw machine, which is there to introduce them to gambling as young as possible. I mean, that's true, because your chances of winning are next to none. Goddamn, the claw machine, 95% of the time, is gonna win.
Hey, just like the pokies, you're never gonna win, but these machines instill gambling into these young children's mind, and maybe one day they'll even get to play the pensioner's piano. Anyway, I think that's most bases covered. Now it's time to get into some of the greatest pub moments in Australian history. And of course, we're starting off strong with this guy right here. This man's name is Kyle Ferguson, and in 2022 he managed to get himself banned from every pub and licensed venue in all of Western Australia. Now, for our overseas viewers, that may not sound very impressive, but for those who don't know, Western Australia is by far the biggest state in the whole country, which makes this even more impressive. Now, a few days after his big night out, Kyle received this letter in the mail and decided to make a TikTok about it. Now, thanks to the stupidity of this case, this TikTok got some traction.
Kyle claims nearly 1 million people viewed his rant on TikTok before it was taken down,
which brought its attention to the news, who decided to do an interview on our boy Kyle. And in that interview, we discovered the real reason why he was banned from every licensed venue in the whole state of Western Australia.
The reason Cowboy's banned for a year from everywhere is because of an alleged tangle at Paramount nightclub last month. He's charged with failing to leave a premises and fighting in public.
Got into a fight with Seki over he chucked me wallet, and I didn't let that go. In my own defence, I shouldn't have done it.
Now look, I don't know about you guys,
he got banned from all of them for a year for a fight?
Me, that just sounds like a normal night out.
Yeah.
Now obviously this is not quite the most ideal situation, so Kyle had to plan ahead for his future, and luckily he had a plan in place already.
I'll most probably just stuff off to the States once I turn 21 to try bull riding for a bit.
So if any of you guys ever find
There you
yourself
go.
in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and you see our boy Kyle doing some bull riding, let him know that Big Daddy YH69 says hello. Anyway, next up we have the one time that these two kangaroos walked into this pub. I even managed to find some photos from a little bit later on in the night. The one time that Gary the Goat ordered a drink at the Poon Carey pub. The one time that Big Les, rest his soul, won $100 million on the pokies. And of course, the all-time great...
100 million would be crazy, bro. It'd be tough to leave that place with your life. It'd be tough to leave that casino with your life.
Just walk home from the pub, the Punch Bowl drunkard.
Oh my god. That is legit the funniest Australian clip that I've ever seen, bro. And I don't think there's anything beating this clip.
Too much drinking, aye. Whoa, 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 whoa. Be careful. Stay. Yeah,
And that brings us on to our last and greatest moment in Australian pub history. The pub owner who smacked the crocodile with a frying pan. Now this guy here, Kai Hansen, owns a pub on his very own island. And that island is surrounded by crocodiles. Now one day this crocodile got a little too close to the entrance for Kai to be happy about. So Kai decided to come down the steps and give this crocodile a warning shot. Now despite having a gun on hand, Kai decided that the frying pan would do just as good of a job. So when the crocodile decided to charge at him, he gave him an almighty smack across the head. And after a quick PUBG style beating with a frying pan, the crocodile thought, "F this," and booked it back into the water. And just like our boy Kyle, this video also went viral and got the attention of the news, who decided to do an exclusive interview with him. And in that interview, we got to learn a little bit of lore about the crocodile situation.
King Kai lives alongside his beloved Casey, who entertains visitors on the banks of the Adelaide River. But a rogue croc named Fred has moved in and upset the pecking order.
And even got to learn a little bit about our boy Kai, who seems like a pretty chill dude.
I just grabbed the frying pan and gave an almighty smack on the nose.
Anyway, long story short...
See, Kai, I'm telling y'all, when it comes to Australia, you Aussies are the most fearless people on planet Earth. I don't know if there's anything that scares you guys. I don't think there is. I don't think there's anything.
The crocodile, Fred, got taken away and probably got told that if he doesn't pull his head in, they're going to turn him into a handbag. And with that, the crocodile situation was rectified and they all lived happily ever after. Now, as much as I would love to continue going through the greatest moments in Australian pub history, it's very hard to find ones that aren't just all-out brawls. So on that note, it's time to end. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment and share if you'd like to hear more teachings from the prophet of Yorak Hunt. And if you enjoyed this video so much that you watched it all the way till the end, make sure to comment
Must be stuck in third.
to let me know.
Absolutely enjoyed this video all the way through, from beginning to end. I found it to be absolutely epic, so shout out to the prophet Yorak Hunt. This was amazing, and it's great to see the greatest pub moments and also see what makes a good pub in Australia. That's all we got. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the next one. I'll see y'all next time.